back with another Resident Evil game review, which, honestly, I didn't think I was gonna do, especially since Resident Evil 9 is gonna be coming out at the beginning of next year. We got like 5 or 6 more months to go. Then we're gonna get Resident Evil 9 Requiem, but I wanted to get back into the Resident Evil franchise, and the game that I am going to be reviewing is Resident Evil Biohazard.
Oh, hell no!
Before I get into it, I will say that Biohazard is a Resident Evil game that is not for everyone, especially if you're not big into the horror games. Like, Resident Evil is all based on horror, it's about surviving the zombie apocalypse, but it's also like, it's not like Resident Evil 2, 3, 4, 5, or even 6, where it's you're going around solving puzzles and fighting to survive. In this one, it's a first-person survival horror, and it's very different from your usual Resident Evil game. It goes back very much into horror survival. The language is not the best. I think it drops like 30-35 F words, and there are scenes that are honestly terrifying to it. But without further ado, let's get into it. The game starts with the first-person point of view as you play as Ethan Winters, which is really cool to be able to play this game like you are Ethan. Anyway, it starts off with all this happy, bright colors. There's his wife. She's telling them that her job that she's working on overseas is almost over. She can't wait to see him again. She really wants to be a happy family again. And then things get really dark, because right after that message, we get this scene where it's these two hands over this laptop, and they hit the record button on the computer again, and it's the same woman, but she tells Ethan to stay away if he gets this message. Be warned, stay away, nothing good is gonna come with it, forget he ever knew her. And that's how it ends. It cuts to Ethan driving across Louisiana, and this is just me, but I feel like at this point, after the end of the message, after the message cuts to black, and then we get an overhead view of Ethan driving through Louisiana, I feel like in the background we could get like, kind of an 80s song going, kind of like Don't Fear the Reaper, kind of like a you know, I feel like that would be great. So this is when you start playing as Ethan. You park the car where your wife's like last distance was recorded, her last location. And this was my 4th time playing this game, and no matter how many times I play this game, I always just love going through the country that he's in, walking through it. It's creepy because there's like dead animals everywhere, but for the year that this game came out, I think it came out like 2017, 2019, I don't know, I could be completely wrong on that. But the graphics for it are really cool. Like, you actually feel like you're deep south in Louisiana, and it's just fun to explore the territory, especially because you feel like you're in the woods yourself playing as Ethan. So Ethan ends up finding this one house. Like, outside of the house there's this van with this film crew. Well, like, not film crew, all their like filming equipment, but it's all like rotted, the equipment's destroyed, like it's been there for a long time. Anyway, Ethan goes inside the house, and this is when the game starts giving you creepy vibes, because he's walking through the house, everything's rotted, things are falling apart. There's a part where you can lift the lid off this pot to reveal rotting food, and these cockroaches are crawling on your arm that you just brush off. But it gives you the feel of, this is some horror stuff that's about to go down. Something I love about Resident Evil Biohazard is the different stories that go on through this game. Like, you can go through these houses and find these videotapes that you put in these cassettes, like the cassette player, and you switch from playing Ethan to playing whoever the tape is about. And this one tape that Ethan can find at the beginning of the game, when he puts it in, it's just this film crew that investigates haunted houses. And this is when it gets more creepy vibes, because they're just investigating the house. At this point, the house is like, yeah, it's still abandoned, it's starting to fall apart. It's nothing looking like how Ethan finds it, but the crew is starting to get really creeped out by it. And one of the, spokesperson, he disappears, and you find this secret hatch that you go down this ladder, and you end up finding this guy, the cameraman or spokesperson, whatever he is. He's impaled on this pipe, and this random person just appears, and the tape just goes all staticky while you hear screaming in the background. It's very intense. It has a very horror feel to it, and I don't blame anyone if they're just thinking at this point, what have I gotten myself into? Because it is just that scary. If you decide to play the tapes, they're optional, you don't have to. I would say play them your first time playing the game, just so you know how to get around the different houses. But, once Ethan plays the first tape of that film crew, he learns about the secret hatch, he goes down it, and you go through this waterway, which gives a little jump scare, because the body of one of the cameramen, he floats to the top, and you're like, oh, that really caught me, I was not prepared for that. Anyway, Ethan eventually finds the woman that had sent him the 2 messages, the one saying she missed him and the other one to send him away. Turns out that her name's Mia, she's his wife, and she, unlock her from this cage that she's in, and she's kind of a little cuckoo, if you know what I mean. She's not fully there, which, when you start talking to her, you know something is off. It's best not to trust her, that's what I would say. She ends up leading you deeper into the house while she's saying some weird things. There's a part where she says, there was a doorway here! It's gone! It's gone! Where is it? And she's just kind of losing her mind at this point. And it's really weird. But the weirdest part is that she kind of disappears when you're following her, and you go up to this other level of the house, and then when you start to come back down, there's this little cutscene, which is the creepiest part of any horror game I've played so far. Probably creepiest part of any horror movie. And she is crawling up the stairs like a spider. She attacks Ethan with a knife. She stabs the knife through his hand, and she uses superhuman strength and throws him through a wall. And at this point, to defend himself, she's kind of a mini boss, I would say. She's fighting with a knife, and you got this little hatchet that you're fighting her with, and you end up stunning her because you slammed the hatchet into her neck. And then you learn that you can get through the house with these little phones. These phones are placed throughout the house. The person calling you is this unknown person named Zoe. She's trying to help you escape so you don't end up like other victims that have somehow disappeared from that house. It's really cool to explore these rundown houses and have an aid at the same time while trying to avoid being killed. It's intense, but I love it. Eventually, Ethan gets captured by Jack, the man of the family, man of the house. He takes Ethan to the mansion, the Baker mansion, and we get the most grossest cutscene ever. Like, there's this, you wake up to just like this family eating on this table of body parts, and like Jack, he ends up cutting his son's arm off, and it's just, if you're kind of queasy, I would like put the TV on mute and look away for a little bit, because it's not a pleasant cutscene. But it went very far from Resident Evil. This game did more horror vibes, so it works. The Baker house itself can be really scary because you're Ethan, you're trying to find a way out through underground passages or different doors he can try, but you're also being hunted by Jack at the same time. And the very first boss fight with Jack is insane. Like, he ends up killing this cop that was trying to help you escape, and you fight him in the garage of the house, where first you just shoot him with the cop's gun, but then the second phase you can get in your car to ram him, which honestly is pretty difficult because you're given a very limited amount of space. But during the third phase, like, Jack will actually like rip the top of the car off, and he'll kind of like hijack control of the car from Ethan, and he'll crash the car into a giant I-beam, and basically that's how Jack dies in the first battle with him. I say first because there's more to the story with Jack than just that. Mansion is probably just terrifying. Not only do you have Jack, who once you find these certain items that Zoe is guiding you through to find through talking to you on the phone, but there's also Jack, who somehow comes back alive, and you can stun him by shooting him, but he's trying to whack you with this scythe, so that's terrifying, trying to avoid him. And also, there's parts where you run into these rooms, and instead of zombies in this game, there's creatures called the Molded, which, like, they look like something from Alien vs. Predator. They're really creepy, they're tough enemies, but so far the enemies in this game are really cool because you got the Bakers, you got Jack hunting you down, and you also got the Molded, which are terrifying alien-like looking creatures. So far on the enemies list of terrifying, and a terrifying game feel to it, I give it a 10 out of 10. There is a part in the Baker Mansion where it's like a slaughterhouse where you can take on Jack, and this fight was actually really fun because Ethan has this chainsaw and Jack has this like weird mechanical like scissor thing that he put together, and you can fight each other, like you can pair each other's moves with the chainsaw trying to slash each other, and the feeling feels like you're Ash Williams from Evil Dead with the chainsaw. It feels so cool. Anyway, you beat Jack again in the slaughterhouse, and you escape the Baker Mansion. You go to this trailer where you talk with Zoe on the phone again. You learn that there's a serum that can be used, and the reason that everyone is acting crazy is because there's like an infection that the main villain of the game has like implanted, kind of. She just messes with their minds, and slowly it's killing them. You learn that there's a serum that you can make that can stop that, but it's in this other house, so you gotta go to that house, which honestly wasn't my favorite. The only really fun part of the second house that you go through, like, is that you get to play as Mia. You can choose another video cassette to watch. You play as Mia going through that house. It's really creepy, trying to avoid the mother of the family because she wants Mia to join their family. Anyway, like, what's really creepy is that once Ethan beats the mother of family. Like, she turns into this giant bug. It's a weird fight. Anyway, once he beats her, he unlocks this one room, and this is where my paranoia kicked in. Because this is where the main villain of the games room was, and it's all dark, it's super creepy, there's eerie music playing in the background, and there's like mold all over, and there's this one part where this ball comes rolling down the hallway, and if you walk to the end of the hallway and turn the corner, there's no one there.
Oh, hell no!
Anyway, you get into the bedroom, which is like small, dark, cramped, and you find this little entranceway, kind of like hideaway area that you go into, where you get the arm that is used to make the serum. And what's creepy is that when you first entered the room, there was no one there. But once you turn around to leave the room, you see this pair of legs that run away. And you go outside back into this bedroom, which was all clean and tidy. But around the walls now, there's like all this writing that you can't really read. But it is terrifying how this room went from like super calm cleanliness to this terrifying feeling to it. Oh, dude. That made my heart go pound. Eventually, Zoe is like kidnapped, and like you gotta fight the brother of the family. Well, you don't really fight him. You just go through this puzzle house, which kind of felt unnecessary for the game. But in the end, you do find Zoe, but you gotta fight Jack for a third time. Luckily, it's the third time you end up, and which is probably one of the funnest fights, because he's like this giant humanoid creature that you would expect from a regular Resident Evil game, this giant bioweapon. And you fight him on these two floors. You can fight him on the rafters, where like if he falls below onto the second floor, you can shoot the eyeballs that are on him. And if he climbs above you, you can shoot the eyeballs that are above you that are on him. And at the same time, when he gets on the floor and claws at you, you can dodge those. It's a really tough fight, but it's really fun at the same time. I had a fun time with it. After you finally defeat Jack, you give Mia the serum, and this is where it goes into a time loop thing, where it goes back to Mia. She was like, she gets in, like, Ethan and Mia, they crash, and like Mia's exploring the ship that she came to Louisiana on, and she's going through this molded, seaweed filled, like completely destroyed tankard. But at the same time, she's having flashbacks, and then she watches this videotape of herself. So it's really cool to play as Mia going through this area fighting the molded. It's really fun to take a break from playing Ethan and play as Mia, because Mia is actually kick-ass at this point of the game. So eventually Mia does find Ethan, and you're at the end of the game, the last section of the game, because Mia sacrifices herself for Ethan to escape, and she says, pardon my language, she says, "Kill that bitch." And then you play as Ethan again, and it's fun. You're playing in this, you go around this like swamp area shooting a couple of the molded dead. I was a great shot in that, like every shot I took was a headshot, so it was fun watching the molded heads explode. But then it leads you to like these salt mines which are caving in, and eventually you run into Evelyn, the main villain of the game. So Evelyn is messing with Ethan's mind, like she's leading him all through the very first house that Ethan came into, and she's showing him how he controlled all these people of the family. Like, one thing I loved, just to back up a bit, is that when Ethan's still captured by Evelyn, he has this like kind of experience in the molded with Jack and Zoe, and Jack's like, Ethan, I am so sorry for what I did to you. I'm no killer. My family aren't killers. It's what this girl has done to us, Ethan. Please, please forgive us. And please, save our family. It's really cool because I like it because you learn that it wasn't them that are the enemies. It was Evelyn, the main villain of the game. It was kind of a cool, like, twist on it, in my opinion. So anyway, back to the final showdown. Evelyn's messing with Ethan's mind, showing him how she got into Mia's mind to attack Ethan. They're going around the house, and eventually they have this showdown in the attic where Ethan stabs Evelyn with the serum, and it reveals that Evelyn was just this old lady through the whole time that eventually, earlier gameplay, you run into at certain points of the game. And she, like, kind of melts and kind of, like, combines with the house to become this weird creature tentacle-like creature that, to fight it, Ethan just ends up shooting its face. It's a weird fight, but it gets pretty intense. I say it gets pretty intense because the fight ends up, like, going outside of the house. Ethan is still shooting at the creature, even though he's been, like, stabbed through the leg and, like, is shooting it upside down to fight. Eventually, this helicopter arrives, and they drop this, grenade launcher to Ethan. They're like, use it! And he uses that to finally defeat Evelyn. And, like, some of the soldiers, they rappel down to where Ethan is. And one of the soldiers is revealed to be Chris Redfield. And I love Ethan's reaction to it. Because he's just like, what the hell took you guys so long? Perfect thing to say to that, in my opinion. So the game ends having a happy ending. Evelyn's finally killed. The Baker family is finally free. And it turns out that Mia survived the attack from Evelyn when she sacrificed herself for Ethan to get away. And it ends with the helicopter flying into the sunset. A typical Resident Evil fashion. Perfect ending. Alright guys, that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think of a Resident Evil Biohazard. Whether you love it and it terrifies you, or if you haven't played it because you hate horror games. Either way, I'd like to know. Anyway, please subscribe to this channel. I would really appreciate it. The goal is to get to at least 400 subscribers by the end of this year. And we're really close to it. We're at like 25, 26 subscribers to go to get to 400. So it'd be awesome if you guys subscribed and we reached this goal. I would really appreciate it. Anyway, yeah. Hope you liked the video. We'll see you next time.